So do you ever wonder, what is the difference between a home inspection and a final walkthrough? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today in one of a series of videos that we have on getting you to the closing table with clarity and confidence. So, inspection versus final walkthrough. Well, the inspection is something that you have probably already done at this point. If you've got the closing table in your sights, you've probably already done the inspection. That is when you hire a professional to go in and take a look at the house to point out some of the major issues, to make sure that there are no foundation issues, plumbing issues, wiring issues, the big stuff. Now, that inspection is probably going to set you back like $400 to $800, but it's a big one. It's a big important thing, and it's going to take like 3 to 4 hours. And that inspector, if you got a good one, is going to go through every single room in the house. He's going to look at every door, every window, every outlet, make sure everything is functioning the way it's supposed to. And if it doesn't, he's going to write it up on his little report, and you're going to get to see everything that is wrong with that house. And then you can decide whether those things that he found on there are big things or not. Does it really matter if that a window is painted shut? You could probably fix that yourself. So then you can decide which things that you can take care of yourself or which things that you want to ask the seller to take care of for you. Now compare that to a final walkthrough. A final walkthrough you do at the very last minute, maybe the day of closing, day before, no more than 2 or 3 days before closing. You want to look at it in its last final stage, preferably after the seller has gotten all of their stuff out of there. Now, at this point, you are not looking for anything new. You are only looking to make sure that it's in the same general condition as it was when you offered to buy it. You are also looking to make sure that anything that the seller said that they would repair, whatever they said would be done, is done, and that they have all of their stuff out. The final walkthrough is the last chance that you as the buyer have to make sure that all agreed upon repairs are done, that everything that's supposed to remain in the house is there, all the stuff that's not supposed to be there is gone, like garbage, that everything that should be working is working, and that no new maintenance items have come up since the last time you were in the house. For example, I was actually helping my nephew buy a house. I was there when he went to go look at it. I was there for the inspection. Everything was golden. We went to do our final walkthrough. Happened to be somebody flushed the toilet upstairs. We were downstairs and it started to rain. We had a huge leak when somebody flushed the toilet. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. And this is your chance to make sure that everything is working properly before you take possession. Now, who, you might ask, is this final walkthrough for? Who goes to this? Well, it's usually you, the buyer, and your agent. You guys are the ones that walk through and make sure everything is good. What do you bring? Well, good question. Bring a notebook in case you need to make any notes. Bring along copies of your purchase agreement and any other documents that you have filled out that pertain to any repairs that the seller has agreed to make, so you know that they have been done. Bring your phone so that if you need to take pictures of anything or a camera, you can get those pictures. Also bring an outlet tester. It could be a real outlet tester, or it could be a phone charger. Something, if you've got outlets that you want to make sure are still working, that you can plug them in and make sure. And it's a really good idea to bring a checklist so you can go through the house and check everything off so you don't forget anything. I will put a link in the description below to a checklist that I have made that you can use. So what do you do if there is a problem? Well, first and foremost, make no mistake that the house is the seller's responsibility until closing is done. So if there is an issue, it is the seller's responsibility. Now, what do you do? Well, there's a few things you can do. You can delay closing till whatever repairs are made. The seller has to take care of it. You can renegotiate your price for additional compensation so that you take care of that repair. Or the seller could actually at that point put some funds into an escrow account if it's a larger kind of repair, so that those funds are available for you to have that repair made, and then anything left over gets released back to the seller. Now, I know that everything that we have talked about so far has been geared toward the buyer, but let's talk about the seller's responsibility for a moment. Sellers, you need to first and foremost clean the house. doesn't have to be perfect. You don't necessarily have to hire a cleaning company to come in, although that would be nice. But at least make it broom clean and clean out the refrigerator. Try to make it in the same condition as you would like to have a seller leave a house for you. Make sure that you complete any repairs that you said that you would complete, and keep receipts for those repairs in case the buyer ever needs to go back to that vendor for any reason. Make sure that you know what stays with the house. Generally, the rule is if it's bolted to the wall, if it is affixed to the walls, it stays with the house. If there is something affixed to the walls that you want to take with you, make sure that your agent puts that in the purchase agreement so that you are free to take it. Otherwise, it stays. A great example of that is when my sister sold her house a few years ago. She had heirloom fern peonies that she wanted to take with her, and these had been passed down from generation to generation. So she wanted to make sure that she brought those with her. So she had her agent put those in the contract, and when she moved out, she dug those flowers up and took them with her. Now let's switch gears again, back to the buyer. I just want to remind you that this final walkthrough is not an opportunity to look for new issues unless they are maintenance issues. Your inspection was your chance to find out what is right and what is wrong with the house. So the final walkthrough is not to look for new stuff, just to make sure that what should be done, what should be there, is still there or has been done. Go through your checklist and look for things that have changed after the inspection. So if you are heading toward that closing table and you want to know more information before you get there, go ahead and click right here for other videos in this series.